Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be unboxing and taking a look at the Pathfinder Adventure Card Game Goblins Fight Deck. So this was a set of cards that came out for the original version of the Pathfinder Adventure Card Game. It is compatible with the newer updated version that came out with the core set, but there are going to be some differences in the cards and the terminologies that are used. So in addition to just opening up this pack of cards, I also thought I would compare them to the way that the cards are now with the new set. So I have a character card, weapon, armor, item, ally, blessing, location, story bane, monster, barrier, spell, and scourge. And I'm going to take the older cards and we're going to have a look at page 26 of the core set rulebook to just see how difficult it will be to convert some of these over. I haven't looked at any of these cards as of yet, and I only did a cursory glance of the conversion rules from the older style of the cards to the newer style. So part of this will also be to see how easy it will be to use, because I'll be basically doing it for the first time in front of the camera. But before we get to that, let's just go ahead and get right to the package itself. So this is the box art, and again, just love, goblins are some of my favorite creatures in D&D, so it's always just cool to have stuff involving them. On the back it says Goblins Cut and Goblins Fight. The Lick-Toad tribe has been gobbling up mutts for years, and now they're hungering to take over the Pathfinder Adventure Card Game. This 109 card accessory includes Rita Big Bad and 2 of her stabby friends, plus enough dog slicers, lucky pet toads, and goblin artifacts to shoot, slice, and chomp your way through any Pathfinder Adventure Card Game adventure path. This deck can be also used with the Pathfinder Society Adventure Card Game Organized Play campaign. So it's not a standalone game. It does require you to have the base set of cards, and the price is $19.99 US is what I ended up getting these for. So it was about $24 plus tax here in Canada. And for me, I think it's worth it because again, I just absolutely love goblins. So, and I want to see if some of these cards are going to be useful for the We Be Heroes adventure book that came with the free RPG day, because I still want to do the playthrough of that entire book. There's only like 3 scenarios in it, so it's not going to take very long to do, but I thought that maybe these cards might help out a little bit. We'll have a look and see. So we'll just get this open, hopefully without damaging too much. And there we go. So we got the 2 packs of cards, and you can see sort of right off the bat some of the differences just in the way that they have the card laid out. So it looks like the character card in the older style was laid out this way, where you have the more like, I guess you got like the horizontal layout, and this one is more of a vertical one. But we'll see what the other cards look like. The back is, of course, the same. That way you can mix older cards with newer cards freely and not have an obvious giveaway. Most card games, have that same thing that they do there. So it's interesting that we have 2 of the same character right off the top here. And we'll open up this second pack as well. So what I really want to do is try to find as many different types of cards in this set as I can to compare it to the ones that I have from the core set. There's still other bundles for me to open up from the core set, so there may be some card types in here that I haven't had a chance to look at yet in the other version, but we'll just go through here. So we'll start with this pack on the left hand side. So here we have the Goblin Ack. So he's a goblin male, male goblin, and runt is his classification there. So we have, like, for the newer set, we have Amiri the human barbarian, and she's human and barbarian. This guy is a runt. Strength, dexterity is a D8. He's got stealth, fortitude, and a D8 for constitution as well. So +2 on fortitude, +1 on stealth. Wisdom is a D8 as well, so not bad overall as far as that goes. Survival is a D6 +1, Wisdom is a D6, and Charisma is a D4. Proficient with light armors and weapons. And his abilities, when you reset your hand, you may treat your hand size as 3, 4, or 5, and then you can level it up to be 2 or 6, or you can level it up again to be 1 or 7 until the end of the turn. When you would fail a check, you may recharge one card from your or your entire hand. For each card recharged, add 1 to the result. So, okay, that seems kind of interesting, some of the abilities that he has there. So let's just take a look at the back, and it gives you the listing that they have. So I think that's similar, again, just favorite card type none, and just the same thing. So we got weapons, spells, armor, item, ally, and blessing. So those all look to be the same, just again, just formatted a little bit differently. So that's pretty cool. And it looks like we got multiple copies of the characters here. So we got Rita and Chuffy. I'm not going to go through all their abilities, but if you want to have a look, I apologize for the glare. I'm having to record these videos at night. Right now during the day there are construction crews fixing brickwork on the building like right next to ours, and it's too hot to have the windows completely closed. Alright, we also have the roll cards, which I haven't actually gotten to yet. But these are for, I guess you can gain these as you level up. So like I said, I haven't gotten that far into the game yet, but there we go. And then we got these here are the token cards, and these cards have been replaced by the pawns that we have now. So the little cardboard stand-up minis. These are what you would used to use back in the day. Would be these types of cards. So all you have to do is find some goblin pawns or goblin figures to use, and that's sort of what the new thing is there. But that's what those old cards look like. And it has a little bit of information on the back as well, just little quotes and stuff, which is kind of cool. So we got those as well. And I'm just trying to organize this so it'll be easy to put back into the same order. Should be fine, that should be fine. Alright, so here we have, looks like a weapon. So we'll just take a look at the weapon cards really quick, so you can again see how they've changed. They have the check to acquire here on the right hand side as opposed to the left hand side. The items here have letters as well, and one of the things that I did read is that many of these letters are simply changed to like level 0, so they would just be converted to a numeric value. So this is a 0 level weapon, this would be a 0 level item as well, I'm pretty sure. So we're gonna set that aside actually for the purposes of just looking at the conversion guide. The other things I guess we should go over, we've got the traits here on the left hand side, top left, and then we got them on the bottom here. We have the card set on the top left hand corner, and we just have a little icon on the bottom right hand corner, and just has sort of a bigger area for all of its abilities. So that's sort of the difference there. I like both designs, truth be told. So there's no one that I consider to be necessarily better, but I do like the check to acquire standing out a little bit more on this one. But again, you can get used to the other card style pretty quickly as well. So pretty cool stuff there. So that's what the weapons look like. And then we've got some more weapons. We got dagger, dart, got the old dog slicer, the garrote, the hand cannon, that can't be safe, hand crossbow, short bow, sickle, sword breaker, oops, the torch, animal bane dagger, dog slicer +1. I haven't gotten into any magic items yet either, in terms of like weapons or magical pluses. Force short bow, flaming scimitar, javelin of lightning, toss glove, For your combat check, reveal this card to use your dexterity or range skill plus 1d4, and you may additionally recharge this card and a card that has the poison or vermin trait to add 1d12 and the poison trait. Animal Bane Crossbow plus 2, Cleaving Dog Slicer plus 2, Bang File plus 1, Dagger of Doubling, Improvised Monster. Improvised Monster, so you got this goblin that's being used as a two-handed club. That's interesting. Sawtooth Saber, Human Bane Gladius. So discard this card to add another 1d6. If the Bane has the human trait, add another 1d8. If you're not proficient with weapons, the difficulty of this check is increased by 4. You can reveal it to add a d6 plus 2. So, okay. Check to acquire 11. Planar Crossbow, Rapier Puncturing, Flaming Longbow plus 2, Force Sling plus 3, Hound Hacker. So here we have, this looks like a spell, so we'll just set that aside for a second. So we got Confusion, Corrosion, Incendiary Cloud, Life Leech. We got some armor, we got Bucklers, Buckler Gun, Doghide Armor, which I'm just going to put down there. And we'll compare those in a second. Stalking Armor, Magic, Studded Leather Armor, Shark Skin Armor, Pot Helm. It's literally just a pot that has a broken off piece so that you can see through it. Ophidian Armor, Bearskin Armor, Flaming Buckler Gun, Alchemist Fire, which is an item, which I don't think we've looked at yet, so we'll put that there. Beehive, actually, let's have a look at the Beehive. I'd rather look at the Beehive. And then we got Caltrop. So that was the first bundle that we had there. So we got some other cards to do some comparisons with. The other bundle also has the characters here. So we've got Ak, Chuffy, and Rita, as well as their role cards. And their... what do they call it again? Just off the top of my head, I completely forget. But they're the card that you would use to show which location they're at. We've got those there as well. And then we got the blowgun again. Dagger, Dart, Dog Slicer. These might be 2 copies of all the same cards, which might be useful if, yeah, I think these are just 2 copies of all the same cards, which can be, useful if you're looking for, I guess, consistency either in your deck or the ability for multiple players to play these characters. So, August Fire, Beehive, Caltrops. Okay, yeah. So the second bundle is the exact same as the first, just a second copy of it, which is fine. All right, so we've got some other things that we need to compare to here. So we have an item, a spell, and armor. So we don't have monsters, we don't have blessings or allies or locations, which I guess this didn't say it was going to have. Okay, just want to make sure there were no special locations for it. So no monsters or barriers either. So we got the spells, we have the items, and then we have the armor. So let's have a quick look at these here. So we'll start with the armors. So we got the older armor, older style card, we got the newer style card. So check to acquire is the same things we have with the weapons. We got them on the right hand side, the descriptors on the left hand side, and for the powers, so the powers here, you can reveal the card to add 1d4 to your check against a card that has a Goblin trait. You can recharge this card to reduce cold or combat damage dealt to you by 1, or you can banish it to reduce all damage to you to 0. If you're proficient in light armors, you can bury it instead. So what's interesting is these pretty much do similar things. However, all the armors that I've seen from the newer style of the game have the display ability, which I don't know if that was an ability with the original original version of the card game. But with display, you don't keep the card in your hand. You set it on the field, and it allows you to basically, when you refresh your hand at the end of your turn, it's not another card that you're holding on to the entire game. So you can display it, and then it's out of your hand, so you can draw extra cards. So with this here, you don't have that ability. You either put it at the bottom of your deck, or you banish or bury it, depending on your proficiency. So it'd be interesting to see if they mention armor in the core in the conversion guide. So that'll be interesting to see. So we got the weapons, which we already looked at. We got the armor. Next we have the items. The first thing that I will say is I much prefer the color coding that they use for the items in the newer version of the game. And the reason that I say that is they use 2 different shades of purple for the items and spells in the original version of the game. And truth be told, I don't even know how much of a difference you're going to be able to see. Like, this is obviously a lighter one, but they're the same kind of basic color, whereas they have a much different color in the newer version. So I do like that. It makes it much easier at a very quick glance to distinguish one from the other. But let's just have a quick look at this beehive, because I think it's just great. It requires a Wisdom Survival check of 8 to acquire, or you can discard a card. It has the Object, Vermin, Poison, and Basic trait. And it says you can banish this card to evade your encounter with a monster, which is actually kind of interesting. Banish this card to add 1d4 and the Poison trait to a combat check by a character at your location. After you play this card, you may recharge this card instead of banishing it. If you do, a character at your location discards a card. So I think with this now, you would put it in the refresh pile to do at the end of turn, but we'll look that up here in a moment. But again, just the difference in the coloration alone, the difference in the coloration alone is, in my opinion, a huge improvement for the new style of card. So we got those, and the last ones that we have are the spells. So once again, they made the purple a lot darker on the newer version, so that they really stand out against everything else. This one here is sort of a lighter purplish color. With the spells, it's not so bad. I mean, I do like dark purple is one of my favorite colors to begin with, so this is probably one of my favorite colors possible. So I'm going to have a bias towards the newer one, but there was nothing wrong with the old one as far as the color for the spell goes. The only issue was the sort of the similarity between the spells and the items. But other than that, it just has all the descriptors and the same sort of basic thing. You've got your letters here, which I do believe turn into like level 0. Or level 1. I'll have to look that up. You got your check to acquire on the right hand side versus the left. Your descriptors are on the left hand side instead of being on the bottom right, and it gives you the abilities here as well. And this one just has, so they have the sort of same abilities to recharge it. However, it does specify that with the newer version that it's done during the recovery phase, where they didn't mention that in the other cards, but I think that's part of the conversion rules. So, with that in mind, let's have a quick look at the conversion rules. I'm going to look at mainly the spell and the armor, and we're going to see how difficult this is going to be to use. So the conversion rules, I believe I looked up earlier, I think it's on page 26. Whoops. 24, 25, and 26. Okay. So, one of the things that we're looking for, alright, so if the older card's level is B, C, or P, you treat it as level 0. And see, when effects refer to cards that have the basic trait, treat them as referring to level 0 cards. So we had the beehive was basic. It had the basic trait as the blowgun did as well, so it's, I guess, considered a level 0. On weapons and spells from previous sets, any power that adds to or subtracts from a check or that rerolls dice may be played freely. Powers that also determine the type of check may not be played freely, which is fine. If a card you banish to play has a check that can allow you to do something other than banish it, put in the recovery pile, so that's what we would do with the spells there. If an older card references a check or other requirement to close a location, treat it as referencing guarding as well. So I guess guarding a location is something that is new as well to the new game. So I don't see anything off the top of my head for the armor, so that might not be necessarily specified. It does say, treat characters that have arcane or divine skills proficient with the corresponding trait, and treat characters proficient with heavy armors as proficient with armor. If a boon requires proficiency, so they go over that. When playing older adventure path, continue to use the feat rewards as listed on the cards. So I think before you had card sets instead of maybe the books. Okay, so there's actually not necessarily a whole lot that you have to keep in mind. The one thing that I would want to know, and I don't see it here off the top of my head, and I don't want to spend like too much time on camera just staring at the book to see, is the fact that armor gives you the ability to display. But like I said, I don't see that off the top of my head. That is something that I would probably want to look up maybe an FAQ on, but I would say it would make sense to me that all armors would have the display property, because that's the way that armors do now with the newer version of the game. But other than that, I don't think it would honestly be that difficult to really convert these older ones into the newer game. So I think it's going to be a pretty painless transition from from the older style to the new one. So that was the Goblins Fight deck. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the older cards versus the newer ones. Which organization do you like? Honestly, I like the card format of the newer style a little bit better, especially when it comes to the coloration of some of the different types of items. I think that the newer version, the newer colors that they have stand out a little bit more from one another. But I am looking really forward to going through and looking at these cards and putting something together to use when I do run the Weeby Heroes storybook from the free RPG day. I'm really looking forward to that. There is another Goblins deck as well that I also want to pick up, but those will probably be the only ones from the original game that I end up getting, and I think going forward I'll probably just focus on the newer stuff as it comes out. But like I said, I think it's going to be easy to use the older cards in the newer game. Just a few sort of simple things to keep in mind there. But anyway, really looking forward to, like I said, diving into these cards. And if you use these before, let me know what you think about the Goblins, and let me know if you have played them, which Goblin character is better. Is it going to be Rita, Chuffy, or Ack? I kind of like Ack, I'm not going to lie. Just look at that face. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Take care.